Hello everyone, Lars here. I wanted to go ahead and go over the top 8 decks over the EUIC that happened this weekend. It was a very exciting tournament. First big tournament of the new post-rotation Temporal Forces inclusion meta. And let's take a look at decks, the decks that got to the top 8, and what they had going for them and what's going on with them. So let's start first with Tord Reklev, the champion of the UIC for the Masters Division, and he brought Charizard EX. So Charizard EX, usually a very powerful card, 330 HP, Infernal Rain ability letting you search your deck for 3 energy, fire energy attaching them to your Pokemon any way you wish, 2 energy Burning Darkness, 180 plus an additional 30 for each prize card your opponent's taken. Very powerful Pokemon, very hard to take down. And once it gets going, it actually just becomes a big threat. You have to kill them. You have to watch out for their damage output. It is very, very hard to deal with. Usually these decks run alongside a Pidgeot EX or a Bibarel EX, but it looks like Tord opted to play both of them together, a 2-2 Pidgeot line and a 1-1 Bidoof Bibarel line. So generally, Pidgeot EX's quick search ability lets you go and search your deck for any one card, and use this and put it right into your hand, and use this primarily to go ahead and figure out exactly what you need for the given turn. Go ahead and get it, and you can play your turns very efficiently because you can go find every key piece you need. But it looks like the Bibarel is played along with it to offset like Ionos, Roxanne, as well as just to get yourself back a bigger hand size before you Pidgeot. Then you can go Pidgeot for any additional pieces you need to meet your game plan for the turn. Most of the rest of this is pretty standard. Radiant Charizard as a powerful attacker in the late game as a single prizer. Rotom V to go ahead and draw 3 cards early on in the game whenever you don't have a play. Gets you set to your setups a lot easier. Luminion to go find the specific supporters you need, like Arvin, Iono, Roxanne, Turos, Boss Orders, whatever you need for that turn. Just go get it and play it. Cleffa is a new inclusion that Tord was running. The Grasping Draw ability for the Cleffa is a free attack. It lets you draw cards until you have 7 cards in your hand, as well as being a free retreat Pokemon. This is sometimes better than Rotom V because sometimes you play through more cards in your hand. This could net you more card draw while also not representing a 2-prizer on the board to give your opponents easier targets to take down. So an interesting tech choice, and it worked out well for him. I saw a lot of matches where it got used, and it drew plenty of cards and got him to his game plan really efficiently, and it wasn't much of a detriment in most of the games I saw. So pretty nice. In addition, it looks like Team Yell's Cheer is being played, which lets you shuffle up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon or supporter cards, except for Team Yell's Cheer, from your discard pile into your deck. So this is a good way to get yourself back some Pokemon, or more specifically, some supporters like Roxanne, Boss's Orders, Professor Turo's Scenario, to get you to the end through the end game and finish out things once you've got yourself set up at a good position, or if you need to get yourself set up in a good position, this can help you get to that point. A lot of Charizard lists have been opting to run Maximum Belt as their ace spec, but Tord chose to run Prime Catcher, so he can have that additional gusting option. It just makes it harder for him in the mirror matchup to take down another Charizard EX, but it seems like that didn't end up becoming too much of a problem. The power of Prime Catcher to go target specific targets when needed was good, as well as Defiance Band, I'm assuming, to pair with the Radiant Charizard to go for that 280 swing if you're down on prizes for specific targets like the Pidgeot EX, while the Choice Belt lets you go at any point after targets like Giratina V-Star, Lugia V-Star, Arceus V-Star. These V-type Pokemon that have 280, Radiant Charizard can get to that point fairly easy, as well as Charizard EX could get to that point if 3 prizes were taken, because he's hitting for 270 at that point. He just needs a little bit more to get over that 280 line. The rest of the list looks pretty standard, with the Buddy Poffins replacing the Battle VIP pass, and all the supporters look pretty normal. So those are the main points of the new additions that Tord seems to have included. Very strong deck the Charizard EX is. So if you do like Charizard, you do like this style of deck, consider trying out this variant. It seems pretty good. Let's go ahead and move on to Isaiah Bradner, who came in second place in the finals. He lost to Tord, playing Giratina V-Star, Lost Zone deck. So let's go over the deck real quick and see what's going on. So your standard Lost Zone cards, Comfey, Sableye, Cramorant, Radiant Greninja, Manaphy. These are your standard cards that any Lost Zone deck will generally run. New addition, and in the Giratina V-Star version, there is the 3 Tina, 3 V-Star. That's all standard. But the new additions seem to be the Shuppet and the Bannettes. So Banette with Puppet Offering lets you go ahead and send your Banette and your Shuppet that's attached to the Lost Zone and return a supporter from your discard pile to your hand. So in this scenario, we'd probably be going for a Color's Experiment, or maybe even bringing back the Boss Swords or the Roxanne, depending on the stage of the game and what you need to do. This also helps you progress your Lost Zone count forward, so you can get to cards like the Mirage Gate, or to the Sableye Lost Mine, or the Giratina V-Star Star Requiem attacks. These are very powerful cards, and getting your Lost Zone to the appropriate levels is important for this deck, so that Banette giving you that extra 2 could get you online a lot earlier than normal by utilizing Comfey's and Colra's Experiment. In addition to the Banette, you can hit your 7 or even your 10 a little bit faster and get yourself exactly where you need to be. The Banette EX is a very powerful tool against certain decks, like Charizard, for example, because the Everlasting Darkness attack lets you shut off your opponent's item use for the next turn, essentially locking them out of playing any rare candies, any Ultra Ball, Buddy Poffin, any of these primary searched cards or evolution-based cards that they need to get active, because they only run one Charmeleon usually. Getting to that Charizard becomes so much harder when they can't utilize their item tools. So the Banette EX is very, very powerful for slowing down those types of decks and getting you to a point where you can start setting up your powerful attackers. And a new addition as well is from the Temporal Forces set is the Iron Leaves EX, which when it's played, it can move itself to the active and attach itself with any energy cards that you want to that's already in play. Since the deck runs Grass Energy, it's a very good card to run in this deck. You can put it into play, move it up, and attach Grass Energies to it from your board, or use Mirage Gate to go get them from the deck. And it hits for 180 damage with its primary attack, which is enough to kill Charizard, because Charizard is weak to grass. So it's a very powerful anti-Charizard card for this deck. So you don't have to use your Star Requiem to kill... You can use your Star Requiem to kill one Charizard, Iron Leaves to kill another, and then Giratina V-Star's Lost Impact attack for 280 can kill a Pidgeot EX to round out your 2-2-2 game plan for this deck. So it gives you yet another way to deal with another prime meta deck in Charizard EX. The rest of the list seems pretty standard with your switch options, with 3 switches, 4 Mirage Gates, 4 Color's Experiments, the Counter Catcher Prime Catcher. Temple of Sinnoh looks to be in play to offset maybe the Lugia deck, or maybe even a control matchup per se, maybe against like Mist Energy to shut down Mist Energy, preventing Star Requiem from getting the one-hit knockout, or from Sableye getting shut off via the Lost Mine. Mist Energy will block Sableye's effect because it is a effect of an attack, not an attack that is applying the damage. So these specific this specific energy, the Mist Energy, Temple of Sinnoh will shut that down. So it's a very good inclusion to offset that brand new energy that is going to cause some problems for this type of deck. Yeah, if you like Giratina V-Star, you like Lost Zone, give this deck a shot. It's looking pretty strong right now. Isaiah had a great showing this last weekend with this deck, and it looks great. Let's move to our top 4 players. So this was, and I have to make sure I say his name correctly, Alessandro Cremascoli had this Pidgeot EX control deck that he brought. And yes, there are a lot of cards. Control decks run very specific cards to give themselves very specific outs and options on how to deal with things. And so this deck tries to focus on utilizing Pidgeot EX to go ahead and find those specific cards that you need at any given point in the game, while utilizing various attackers like Radiant Charizard, Chi-Yu EX, Noivern EX, Bouffalant, and Luxray V to either go after specific like threats and take prizes with the Radiant Charizard, mill your opponent out of cards from the top of their deck like with the Chi-Yu, stop your opponent from being able to attack and deal damage with basic Pokemon utilizing Noivern's first attack, Covert Flight. Bouffalant can attack and remove energy from your opponent's active Pokemon and put it in the Lost Zone where it cannot be retrieved. And Luxray V can look at your opponent's hand, get you very important hand information from your opponent, as well as removing a trainer card from it, which means any powerful supporter they're holding on to, any item card that they're looking to use, any tool card that could slow you down or cause problems for you, you can get rid of whatever you need to, while also getting a very, very important look at exactly what your opponent is working with in their hand. Cards like Mimikyu and Mawile also help to slow the game down. Mimikyu can block out EX and V-type Pokemon from doing damage to it and extend things further if needed. And Mawile, if you can boss up something that can't retreat, you can use Tempting Trap to lock it in place so that it cannot, or they can't attack. You can use Tempting Trap to lock it in place so it can't retreat. It uses a variety of different supporters for whatever purpose it needs. Arven to go search for the bevy of tool and item cards you need. Penny to pick up any of your Radiant Charizards, Chi-Yus, Rotoms, Bouffalants, Luxrays that get that are in the active that you want to kind of move around. Or in the case of Radiant Charizard, if you need to use its attack over multiple turns, you need to penny it. You need to penny to pull it up into your hand, move the Pidgeot in, play the Charizard back down, and retreat the Pidgeot back into it so it can attack again, because it cannot attack on the next turn after using Combustion Blast without doing some sort of switch out. Airy, powerful supporter, gets to look at the opponent's hand and go ahead and just rip 2 item cards from it. Very, very, very strong. Iono, Boss's Orders, pretty standard. Thornton, I saw Alessandro use it very effectively to convert his Luxray into a Bouffalant from the discard pile so he could attach the Luxray already had the double turbo energy. He Thorntoned it into a Bouffalant and then attached the Mist energy to it so it could start attacking with Lost Headbutt to remove energy from his opponent's attacker. It was very powerful. Roseanne's Backup is a very good supporter as well. Lets you shuffle a Pokemon, a tool, a stadium, or an energy card. And that's not a basic energy, it's just any energy card from your discard pile back into your deck. So this lets you go ahead and get your double turbo energies back, your Mist energy back. The powerful tools that are utilized, such as Hero's Cape, Technical Machine Devolution, Defiance Band, Forest Sealstone. Although Forest Sealstone, if you've already used it, it's already gone. And then it utilizes cards like Bravery Charm and Hero's Cape, Defiance Band. These tools very much help either protect your cards or help you, in the case of Defiance Band, go for those specific knockouts with Radiant Charizard so you can slow down your opponent's Pidgeot, Giratina V-Star, just lots of different things to get your opponent to not be able to use what they want to. Very powerful control deck. Very interesting. I'm actually going to definitely be building this list and playing it myself this week at some point. So if you like control lists, give this one a shot. It looks super fun. Absolutely would recommend giving it a shot. Let's move on to this was William Azevedo's Charizard EX list. So this is a more bog standard Charizard list, running the Charizard EX, Pidgeot EX, Radiant Charizard, Rotom V, Lumineon V, and William opted to go with a Cleffa as well. So both him and Tord thought, hey, this Cleffa, this is good. We like the Rotom draw. The Cleffa draw is good too, and it's another free retreat option in the early game before you get the Pidgeot EX. Very, very nice. No other really crazy changes between this and towards this except for the Technical Machine Devolution, the maximum belt. So instead of running Prime Catcher, William opted to run the maximum belt. This gives you a better matchup into the Charizard mirror, as well as being very good into decks like the Iron Hands deck. Because with Charizard, when he comes out swinging for 180, the maximum belt gives him the ability to hit immediately for 230. That helps you kill not only Iron Hands, but also helps you kill Roaring Moons immediately if they don't have their Ancient Booster Energy Caps attached. It also helps in the Charizard mirror. Once you're up to like the 300 damage mark, the maximum belt can help you just kill a Charizard EX. Very, very powerful trainer. Very, very powerful A-Spec card. In Prime Catcher, very good, depending on the deck and the matchups. And then Technical Machine Devolution, very powerful tool. Lets you de-evolve your opponent's Pokemon. Good also for the mirror. If your opponent utilizes a lot of rare candies, sets themselves up with all these Pokemon, you can just de-evolve them. And then those are resources that are lost. Getting back the rare candies is not possible. So once they've used them, they are limited to only what they have remaining. And with 2 TM devolutions, that gives you the opportunity to get it done once and maybe even get it done again later once your opponent has run themselves out of their additional rare candies, essentially locking them away from finishing out the game. Very, very strong deck. It's different from the Tord list, so if you like this more standard-oriented version, there's still some cool tech options, of course. There's amazing tech options in this. But if you don't necessarily want to play the Pidgeot with the Barrel, you just want to do the Pidgeot, give this one a shot. It looks great. Let's move on. We're now going into the top 8 decks, the remainder of the decks shown. Let's go ahead here. This was Uffe Axelson's. I'm very sorry if I mispronounced that. I sincerely apologize. So this is their Iron Hands, Iron Crown list. So this is pretty. This is one of the new decks that kind of came out, utilizing Miraidon's Peak Acceleration attack to attach energy to your Iron Hands or even the Mew EX. Oh, sorry, not the Mew EX. Sorry, just to the Iron Hands. I'm sorry. It says future Pokemon only. That's my bad. The Peak Acceleration from the Miraidon to attach to the Iron Hands EX gets you the ability to use Ampy very much for multiple prizes or even just an arm press. Both of these Pokemon can be empowered by the Iron Crown as well as the future booster energy capsules in the deck to do 20 damage more for each instance. So you can get an additional 100 damage added if you have all of those attached. So Peak Acceleration could deal 140, and Iron Hands EX could hit for 260 or even 220 with the ability to take an additional prize with that Ampy very much attack. Mew EX is in the deck as a way to attach energy via the Heavy Baton energy switch around. When you bring your Iron Hands up to attack, you can attach a Heavy Baton to him, and if he gets knocked out, you can move that energy to a second Iron Hands or to the Mew EX, whatever you need to, and that gives you another powerful attacker being set up after your first one gets knocked out. The deck runs Arvin, Professor's Research, Iono, Boss's Orders, and then Erica's Invitation. I'm assuming that tech option is just to get yourself the ability to go after something in your opponent's hand they're holding back. Specifically, a single prize Pokemon that's probably very weak that Iron Hands could very easily take 2 prizes off of. So if your opponent is just sitting there on a bevy of large 2-prize Pokemon that have no damage on them that Iron Hands can't kill through, and you only need those 2 prizes left, Erica's Invitation, bring a basic into play, put it into the active, and just punch that thing into oblivion. Just amp you very much all over its face. That'll give you your last 2 prizes you need, and that's pretty awesome. Techno Radar to go ahead and search through your deck and grab your Iron Crowns, Iron Hands, Miraidons, whatever you need. Electric Generator to go ahead and play the Gamba game. Look at the top 5 cards. Find if up to 2 energies, electric energies, if you find them there, attach them to your Iron Hands. It's on your bench. Very strong, but it's a Gamba. Sometimes you go in, you hit nothing. Sometimes you go in, you hit 2. Sometimes you hit more than 2. And with 14 electric energy in the deck, or lightning energy in the deck, you're going to have a good shot at hitting them. Pokegear to go search your specific supporters that you might need at the turn. Nest Ball, one of, because you have the Techno Radar to search a lot of things. The Nest Ball can be used on the Mew, or if needed on a Miraidon or something. Switch Cart, everything's basic, lets you switch your thing around just in case you don't have a future booster capsule. Lost Vacuum to remove anything unnecessary. Prime Catcher to target down what you want, along with the boss's orders, and a Counter Catcher. And then the Future Booster Energy Capsule to attach to your Miraidons and your Iron Crowns, and maybe even one Iron Hands EX in the later stage of the game. If you don't want to attach a Heavy Baton or can't attach a Heavy Baton to it because you don't have any. And it helps you do a little bit more damage as well as gives you that free retreat pivot. It's very nice. Along with 14 Electric Energy, 2 Psychic Energy. This is a very cool new deck that has been... that has come out of the Temporal Forces set, and it is very strong. There were 2 showings here at the top 8. We'll get to the other one here in a minute. And yeah, if you like taking 2 prizes, you like using Iron Hands, you like just search your deck for the future cards and setting up big plays, give this deck a shot. It's so much fun. Here's the other list. Let's go ahead. Juho Kallama came in also with his Iron Hands, Iron Crown list. So running very similar stuff, the 4/4 hands crown looks like he's running 4 hands instead of 3, 2 Miraidons, 1 EUIC. He's doing 4 Arwen, 4 Professor's Research, 3 Iona, 1 Boss Orders. No Eric's Invitation on this list. He's doing the Techno Radar and Electric Generator. He's running more Counter Catchers and more Nest Ball with no Switch Cart. With 1 Prime Catcher, 4 Future Booster Energy Capsules, 2 Heavy Batons, a Technical Machine Crisis Punch, which is a 280 swing if your opponent can only be used when your opponent has 1 prize card remaining. This is your sort of, I need to kill a 2 prizer that has 200 HP, like a V-Star or a Pidgeot EX, and I've already got 3 energy attached to like Iron Hands or something. And I'm not 100% sure, but this might be able to be boosted with Iron Crowns and Future Booster Capsules, but I don't know for sure if that is the case. But if it is, that's pretty cool. 1 Town Store. There's 6 tool cards in the deck, and they are important, so a Town Store to go search those out. And it looks like he's running 1 less Psychic Energy than Uffe Axelson was. So again, solid deck. If you like this version better, give it a shot. It's really cool. Let's go to the next one. So Roaring Moon, cool deck. Roaring Moon has been around here since Paradox Rift came out, and people have been trying to do work decks around it for a while now. This list looks very spicy. I like it. So this is Mark Høstrup's Roaring Moon EX deck. So it utilizes 3 copies of Roaring Moon EX, who has the ability to 1-hit KO with his Frenzied Gouging attack, or deal 220 with his Calamity Storm attack by discarding a Stadium. Very powerful Pokemon. There's also the new Roaring Moon single prize from the Temporal Forces set, which has the Vengeance Fletching attack, which for 2 Dark Energy, 70 damage, plus an additional 10 for every Ancient card that is in your discard pile. And we have lots of ancient cards. We have the Roaring Moon single. We have the Roaring Moon EX. We have the Professor's Size Vitality, the Explorer's Guidance, the Earthen Vessel, the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. All of these are ancient cards, so they all can boost the power of Roaring Moon, the single prize Roaring Moon, as a good, solid secondary attacker. In addition, it looks like the Temporal Forces Dunsparce and Dudunsparce have been added in. Dunsparce adds a free retreat option to the list, and Dudunsparce gives you the ability to draw 3 cards and send the Dudunsparce and Dunsparce back into your deck, so you can basically offset yourself from milling out while also digging in further for your Explorer's Guidance, your Sada's Vitalities, your Counter Catcher, your Boss's Order, your Dark Patches, your Prime Catchers, whatever you need to really get going. Professor Size Vitality lets you very aggressively add energy to your Roaring Moons, because you get to mill them out with your Explorer's Guidances, with your Radiant Greninja, with your Ultra Ball, discarding them from your hand. And when your energy's in the discard, Sawdust can attach them to your ancient Pokemon, which is both the different Roaring Moon types, as well as drawing you 3 cards. Explorer's Guidance can look at the top 6 for you and lets you keep 2 and send the other 4 to the discard. This helps you fill the discard for your Roaring Moon single prize, as well as dig for your specific cards that you need, like Boss's Orders, Counter Catcher, Prime Catcher, and so on. A penny is used because pretty much everything here that you're going to attack with that can't get itself out of the active is a single prizer. So you can pick up a Roaring Moon that has been injured and set it back down and try and set it back up, or even just to get the injured one out of the way so you can bring in something that is like the single prize Roaring Moon, so you don't have that 2 prize threat looming on the board. So 1 penny is pretty interesting. Dark Patch lets you accelerate energy from your discard to your dark Pokemon on the bench. Very strong. Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, standard search card. Earthen Vessel, same for energy. Trekking Shoes to just look at the top card, decide if you want to keep it or send it away to the discard pile, and helps you just thin through the deck more. Super Rod to recover any Pokemon you need to, or any energies you need to set yourself up for another attack. Counter Catcher to go Gust. Prime Catcher, same. Ancient Booster Energy Capsule to help keep your Roaring Moon and your Roaring Moon EX nice and healthy so that you don't just lose them to certain attacks at certain stages of the game. And that seems like that's pretty much the deck. The Artisan helps you go ahead and search for the Dunsparce and the Roaring Moon single prize. Lots of good cards here. Definitely a fun and interesting variation to the Roaring Moon lists. Give it a shot. He made top 8 with this, and it looks pretty nice. So if you like Roaring Moon, load this up and give it a shot. Looks very strong. And finally, the last deck that made top 8 was the Snorlax control deck, piloted by Bert Wolters. So if you've been playing in the last 6 months or so, Snorlax has become a popular deck. It is a control deck as well, where you try to lock your opponent into the active with an inefficient attacker or a Pokemon with the inability to attack, and you utilize Snorlax to keep them locked in play while utilizing cards like Mimikyu to block out certain attackers, Mawile, as well as another lock-in option, Chi-Yu to mill at the very end of the game, Luxray to search your opponent's hand and remove cards, and Pidgeot EX to the same. So this is a slightly different variation on your standard Snorlax list, which is just trying to mostly lock your opponent in and not do much else except for just kind of do pass go, Misfortune Sisters pass go, airy stuff. But this one's looking to play a sort of control-oriented game where you try and actually whittle your opponent's resources down while also having that Snorlax lock option. So it utilizes Penny to pick up the Snorlaxes if they get damaged and reset them. Airy to search your opponent's hand and remove items. Iono to just shuffle things back in case of in case you have a bad start or things go wrong. Boss's Orders to pull things to the active for you. Erica's Invitation to do the same thing. You want to lock your opponent in on bad attackers. Giacomo against cards utilizing decks utilizing special energy to really just slow them down. Misfortune Sisters will mill out items off the top of your opponent's deck. Very nice. Professor Turo Scenario, again, like the Penny, lets you pick things up and just get them out of there. Silene to help you reset a lot of your key cards like the Pal Pad and Team Yell's Cheer. Team Yell's Cheer to go ahead and get a bunch of the supporters back into your deck. And then your bevy of Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, Counter Catcher, Rare Candy for the Pidgeot, Pokegear to look through all of the top 7 for a specific supporter you need. There's lots of them in this deck. Sometimes you need very specific ones at very specific times. That's why Pidgeot is in there as well. Very important to get the things you need at the appropriate times. Pal Pad to reset some of the supporters as well in case Silene fails you. And Silene can also grab the Pal Pad back for you so you can keep resetting the specific supporters you need to keep yourself from decking out and to keep yourself running with your game plan. Hero's Cape and Bravery Charm help to make your Snorlaxes and your Mimikyu very, very hard to kill. TM Devolution helps you, once your opponent has overextended themselves into a bad spot, you can TM Devo and remove all of their big attackers from the field. and then force them into a bad spot, especially if you've been using Airy to rip rare candies away from a Charizard. Once they've gotten 1 or 2 set up, if you can get rid of a lot of those, you really put them in a bad position. And yeah, that's kind of the gist of the deck here. I'm not a huge fan of Snorlax stall control, but this is more control versus a stall sort of deck, so it looks pretty interesting and it looks pretty fun. If you are interested in playing this type of deck, this list is also pretty nice. Give it a shot. I'll be posting the link to the listings in the description below. It'll be on limitlesstcg.com. If you just go to the tournaments, EUIC 2024 London, and you'll have the deck lists here. The players, their position in the tournament, as well as if you just click here, it'll give you the list, and it'll bring it up just like this, and you can print it or copy it to your clipboard, and then you can import it right into TCG Live if you want to take it on there and give it a shot and play with it. These all look so interesting and fun deck-wise. Lots of cool innovations, lots of cool decks. These players were incredibly talented in this tournament here, and it was amazing to watch them play. And yeah, so these are sort of the contenders here for the meta at the moment, specifically the Iron Hands and the Charizard lists and the Giratina V-Star lists are very strong, seemed very consistent, and are definitely threats to look out for on the events coming up next. So Orlando, Florida Regional comes up next weekend. We'll be going through and talking about decks from that event as it comes out too. So if you liked this sort of content, I know it's a little bit new to what I've been doing. It's a little bit new compared to what I've done up to this point, but I'm going to try and do some more meta-oriented content as well, including meta deck showcases and maybe even some meta-analysis of the events and talking about all this kind of stuff. I'm very interested in the Pokemon TCG. I'd like to compete at some of these events myself one of these days. So it's very interesting to me, and I hope that anyone watching, it's that you're interested in that you like this sort of stuff too. And I hope that I wasn't too much of a bore here going through all of this. But yeah, this is really fun. If you enjoyed this sort of content, please like and subscribe to the channel here. I will be doing more of this as we get to as the events come up as well. And I'll be uploading some different meta deck showcases here on the channel as well. So be on the lookout for those. As always, you can also, if you want to catch me live, I am over at twitch.tv/justlarze. The link is in the description below. And I will be live Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you want to come check and see if I'm playing anything interesting. I mostly am just doing Pokemon TCG Live content over there. So if you want to come check it out, that'd be great. I would love to have you. So I'd love to see you guys there. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time. Have a good one.